Mark Taplin, I'm wondering what you think the council should do right at this moment regarding your proposal.
What I'm really hoping in this next council meeting is that the councillors decide and vote on the first of perhaps 4 stages of discussion, and that would be that they agree to form a working party consisting of a couple of councillors, they're chaired by Business Victor Harbour, someone like myself, a tourist operator, a family member that's got kids and things like that, and people in the boating community to have input who will be affected, and this could be used for their advantage. So the idea is we form a working group, we then go back to council once we've agreed on the concept, and it's just a broad concept, to then go to council to get them to vote on it, and then the administration then send that into the state government. And hopefully, by that stage, we've got broad community support, and more importantly, the community need to know what is proposed, because at the moment I have been denied that ability to communicate with the community. So that's why I've gone public with it, going out on Facebook and then to the advertiser, and it's snowballed from there. So that's the things I'm forcing to do, and I would not envisage doing anything like this unless you had the community behind it. But from what I've found out and what's happened since I've gone public with it, is that the broader community, as far as the state, are really keen in what goes on here. Tourist operators, for example, cruise ship companies, all those guys have all come to me and said, look, this is absolutely vital for the long-term viability of Victor Harbour. We need to look at doing something like this, and we've got a perfect opportunity to do it. So we've got to involve not just the community in giving them understanding, showing them what's on the go, giving them a chance to speak and say their point of view, because everyone's got a point of view, and then also the ability to go statewide with it, to show people outside the operators who will be operating in here, hotel groups and the same cruise ship companies and things like that, to say what the advantage would be. For example, just the convention centre. I've been told that the Adelaide Convention Centre, they haven't got a convention centre outside the CBD of Adelaide that carries 1,000 people or more. And so by having a facility like that down here, they said that it'll help them greatly, because they're knocking back people. And if they can come down here, it's only an hour's drive away, and then all the people coming to the conventions, more often than not, they bring their spouses and families. So those spouses and families will then get out and spend dollars in the community in going down and seeing the area as well. So that convention centre, for example, you'd involve an operator from, say, for example, the convention centre and working in with them, and it'll also be doubled up as a live music venue that we can carry up to 1,000 people. And also linked with that would be the kids zone area, so kids can go roller skating, for example, in that place during the day, and we hope to have a bowling alley, even a water park thing, and bowling alley, picture theatre, kids zone, pool tables, pinball machines, all this type of thing as well.
What do you base your view on that there is significant local support for this? You mentioned state support.
Yes, it was, I suppose, just speaking to the community. I mean, I've been here for 40 odd years, and I've seen the area, I really think, go backwards, because we just haven't had any infrastructure here. I've watched the Ocean Street really go backwards, even though they spent millions in there. I mean, it's Op Shop Street, it really is, it's very sad. That's what is termed in retail terminology a Main Street demise, when you have a magnet trader, which is usually supermarkets, move out of the area, and they take the people with them, and then they also take the shops with them as well. So you're left with nothing in there. So you've got to reinvent the main street, which takes time. And so very important that we have got to have that infrastructure in place, but down the CBD there is no room to have a new facility built. It's too expensive, too tight, too many landlords, everything else like that, and it can't be done. The car parking issue and things like this. So we've got this opportunity having what they call a greenfields development, still in the township area, in a new, unused, untapped area, but most importantly being environmentally sensitive to the Bluff.
Do you think in any way that the development has been prejudiced by the comments that the mayor made on ABC Radio? What are your views on that?
Yeah, it's. I thought at the time, well, no, that's misconstrued, but it's actually backfired. It's backfired big time on the mayor, hence the letters to the paper this morning and the feedback that I've had. And same with the administration, because that has now forced all these people. I've been getting calls every day since then from people from Adelaide and in other areas associated with this that are very concerned with the attitude of the council to say, we saw what happened with the Anchorage development, we've seen what's happened with other major players coming into the town, and for example Bunnings and Audi going to major projects rather than going through council, because they said, and I've had people ring me up and they said, hey look, it's a great idea, it's long overdue, but trouble is you got Victor Council. And you think, oh God, so this is the attitude that people have got out there, and it's fairly wide known. But anyway, in the comments of the mayor, it's actually worked in the advantage because people have come out of the woodwork.
There's been some speculation that a development at Eastern Beach might be appropriate, and it's been discussed longer than your suggestion has. Why the Bluff instead of Eastern Beach for the marina?
I was from the yacht club. I was there at the time. I was club secretary, and I was a keen yachter and state champion and club champion with the catamarans. And I met with Tom Builder, who originally came up with the idea of putting a marina in behind the Granite Island, but there was rules and regulations regarding the access over the causeway. There was issues with getting petrol and things like that. The water wasn't deep enough, and there was a lot of environmentally wise, which I was quite aware of, as the seagrass beds. When at one stage when I flew over Victor Harbour and I took photographs of it, and I saw these circles, and I call them crop circles, but they're boat circles in the water, and that's where anchor chains were dragging around and ripping all the seaweed off the seagrass bed. In front of the yacht club, I was also invited by the council with the, we had a chap from Marine and Harbours come down on cruise ship representatives, and we had a meeting in council chambers about getting cruise ships coming into Victor Harbour. They made it quite clear, both to me, and I've spoken the environment and the government. I can't remember one of the government members that I spoke, and he said quite clearly, nothing will happen there, not now, not in the future, not ever.
Really?
And the comment he made was, the Highways Department will not allow it anyway because of the access of traffic and boats crossing over the train line in order to get into the beach, and there's causing problems already with Steam Ranger. And the water in front of the yacht club, I believe, because I was a yachty down there, I would like to see their ability to launch boats for the yacht club and the Sea Rescue Squadron from down there. But it can't put a full-size marina in there. For example, the cruise ship people said, we need 3 metres at low tide, and we need mooring facilities for 2 of the tender vessels, and in order to get that, the Marine and Harbours chap said you have to go 200 metres into the water, and that has to be in a fixed building. You can't have a floating berth going out there. They won't accept that because of disabled people and the movement of waves and things like that, so it was out of the question. So they just poo-pooed the idea and said it will never happen, because, and also I know there's longshore drift there, a lot stronger than what it is around Encounter Bay, and that's carrying seaweed and sand and tidal movement. So it's a full-scale marina just can't go over there. But I'd still like to see a boat ramp put in there, and allowable anyway for just the boating people as far as Yacht Club and the Sea Rescue Squadron.
Your plan envisages shops, restaurant, hotel, and some other facilities, I think. What sort of guarantees have you got that those are actually going to happen, that the developers or the businesses that you envisage will actually show up with the money and do it? Rather than just say, yeah, great idea.
Yes. Yeah, when you, and I know there's some retail development, you just can't go out there and set up a shop bang on its own. You have to have a complete thing going around it as far as guaranteed numbers, and so you've got hotels and you've got apartments around there. But creating the environment, I don't know what it's like with you, but when I sit there and relax and have a cup of coffee, I like putting my feet up, and I think it's just perfect for watching either people or looking out over a scenic view. As far as water, to me, looking out over the water is very relaxing, and so we've only got really one place, and that's Whalers, where you can have a cup of coffee on the waterfront and look out and enjoy your meal. And so down there, if we have a multi-purpose facility, they all support each other. So you having a standalone thing is more fraught for danger and falling over. But if there's a conglomerate thing, you look at a shopping centre as a perfect example. So you have the magnet in there as far as the main reason they go in there, but all those shops support each other. And they need to be in a conglomerate situation. This is no different. So you've got a multi-purpose thing of several different things: the convention centre, the hotel, the apartments, the kids zone, the boating, and the eating and the restaurants and things like that beyond the water.
We've heard about a $45 billion federal Commonwealth grant for this project. Can you give us a little more details about what that is and how achievable that is in a competitive situation?
Yes, there is a bucket, and it's I think they're busting to get rid of this money in the federal government. And I know this from the politicians I've spoken to, past governments and present, that there is that fund available for regional infrastructure support programs. Now, so in South Australia we've got very few places like that, but if you throw in tourism and jobs, you're guaranteed of success because they are big employment factors. So I mentioned that figure because that figure was put to me between $40 and $50 million in the cost of developing. It was done by different engineers and cost analysis people. There would be the cost of excavating the ground to create these, like the marina and the new boardwalk and car park and things like that, and providing the infrastructure support such as the power and water and sewerage and things like that. That would have to take place after the state government gave their okay, and that would be after the local government gave the okay. So you can see there's a multi-stage thing that this is just the first hurdle we're jumping at the moment.
Just briefly to finish up, where do we go from here? Where does your idea go from here?
Okay, taking to the next council meeting, and I'm hoping that we can look at a 4-stage strategy. The first stage is that we include the work that the council have done with their Bluff consultation report, and that's to do with all the Crown land surrounding the Bluff, including mostly to do with walking trails and bike tracks and public toilets, things like that. Combining it with this, because it's all part of it, there's all the Bluff precinct of Crown land, and so if there was a council went to state government on its own on what they've done, then I went to the state government with what I've come up with through the community, then they're more likely to say, no, you go out there, put your heads together and come up with one formula. And that's what I want to do. The only way in which we can go out there and get the one agreement, firstly the council to tell the administration that you've got to sit down with everybody, all the players and then all the interested parties, and then put it to the public. The public, I've had phone call after phone call from people from Adelaide saying, I own property down there, I don't know anything about this Bluff consultation plan, I don't know anything about your marina plan. First thing I heard about was on the radio and I saw in the advertiser, what is it? And I want to get out there and have my concept and council's concept put to all the ratepayers of Victor Harbour, including all those 60% of the properties in Adelaide, in Victor. I think the people, they're holiday homes and they're not here permanently, so they don't get the information. So I want all those ratepayers to be given that information of what's involved, and I also then expect, and I know from the interest I've had from the press and the people in Adelaide, we want to know too. So that will end up naturally flowing on, but all the ratepayers have got to be given the opportunity to see what's going on and to make a comment, because I've had some fantastic comments only from local people who also didn't know what was going on, and they want to be a part of it and tell me what they need, what their thoughts are.
Mark Taplin, thanks very much.
Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity.
South Coast Television, your community, your voice.